I read something recently that said, I walked away because you were too busy finding faults in me while I was too busy overlooking yours. Now, that's a pretty heavy quote, and I just want to sit with that for a minute because today I want to talk about the power of relationships in our life with others and with ourselves and how they all affect one another. And this quote is really powerful because who and what we surround ourselves with impact us more than we realize. So whether you feel all the relationships in your life are absolutely perfect and strong and positive, or you're kind of wondering, why can't I get out of this rut and have these friendships like I see other people have or hear about that are just so encouraging and amazing. And that's what I want to talk about today is the power of who we surround ourselves with and how that affects our relationships with others and ourselves. So let's dive in. Are you too busy to prep healthy meals? Do you feel self-conscious about your body and your clothes not fitting right, but you don't have time to work out? Does your life feel unorganized and messy? Do you wish you had routines and habits that made health simple, even with your busy schedule? I know, I've been there. Hi, I'm Shannon Marquita, and no one ever really taught me how to eat healthy. I didn't know anything about nutrition, so I found myself eating whatever was easy, which definitely impacted my energy, weight, and focus. That's why I created this podcast, to show you that through healthy habits and time management, you can know you're doing health right. So stop scrolling social, clicking the ads, and buying all the things. Let's grab our Americano and pop in our AirPods. It's time to solve the real problem together. Welcome home. A fresh start awaits. The reality is that none of us are perfect. If that is news to you, I apologize for having to break it to you at the beginning of this episode. Please feel free to go ahead and hit pause and sit with that information, process it, journal it, whatever you need. But we all have baggage. We all have imperfections. We all have pieces of our past that make us imperfect. And the question is, what do we do with that information? We sometimes realize our imperfections. We all have some blind spots that are more aware to others than ourselves. But I hope that you are somebody who is constantly trying to improve for your own sake, but also for your family's and loved ones' sake. So by improving ourselves and leaning in, we are modeling what's possible to those in our life, especially little ones who look to us as examples, even without realizing it. How you forgive, how you come back from mistakes, how you learn and treat others who might be better than you or in a journey that is in a step before where you are now. Are you reaching back to help others? Are you apologizing? Are you owning your peace in things? Or are you always looking at others as imperfect and it's their fault and blaming? How do you handle that? How do you take ownership? How do you forgive? How do you ask people for forgiveness? And those are all very real questions that we might not always be great at. I know there have been different seasons in my own life where I have done better than others, and I constantly want to be trying to improve. So in some seasons of my life, I have been more impatient, and there are a lot of factors that contribute to that. It might be a stressful season business-wise. It might be a big season of change and adjustment and feeling out of control. It could be all sorts of things. But acknowledging how you're responding, I am someone who definitely reflects on situations after they happen, like all the time. And that's just who I am, how I am. Sometimes it's good. Sometimes I wish I didn't do it as much. But what it allows me to do is to reflect on how I am responding and behaving. And when it becomes a trend of me not liking how I am in situations, I realize that something needs to change. If it's an exception, that happens. It might be because I'm hungry. It might be because I'm overtired. It might be, certain times of the month. Who knows? All sorts of things. But when it becomes the norm, that I'm not a fan and something needs to change. And so you need to ask yourself, when things happen, is this a one-off instance, or is this a trend and something that we need to figure out why, which that's a whole piece in itself, but also how to change it. So for me, in those seasons when I am, well, thankfully, when I was feeling far less patient than I'd like to be regularly and not responding to people how I'd like, maybe abruptly, and in that impatience, not fully listening, I realized that something's got to change, because this is not who I am, nor who I want to be, and it is not how I want to be treating people. So personally, I started listening to a lot of audiobooks and podcasts, because what we focus on expands. And knowing that I very much did not want to stay where I was in that season with my attitude and patience, and I wanted to be and do better, I quickly needed to take action. So by listening to these books and these podcasts, I was focusing my brain on how I wanted to be and what I wanted to do. So in situations, it was at the forefront of how to listen, how to pause, how to be patient, how to respond, how to forgive quickly, how to just better be and do what I want to in those situations and how I want to treat people. Because it's one thing just to say, oh, I want to do better. But like, what does that mean? For me, I wanted to be a better listener. I wanted to be more patient. I wanted to be someone that when they thought of me, they smiled and they wanted to spend more time with me, and they thought of me as loving and all sorts of great words that I want to describe myself, hardworking and present and resilient and all the things. But that means I had to model them, and I wasn't. And so I got intentional about it. Now, is that the case always right now? No, you might catch me in an instance where you're like, that wasn't her best. And I will probably 100% agree with you. But again, those become the exceptions in situations, not the norm. So for you, what are those for you? Do you know how you would want to improve? Or do you think you're perfect now? Because no offense, I promise you're not perfect. And so maybe ask people in your life, hey, I would like to improve. What are some areas that you've noticed that would be beneficial? And these have to be people that you trust, who are going to speak kindly to you in love. So for example, I'm so grateful for my circle of friends, because we definitely speak truth to each other, but it is in such love and encouragement that I want that for each of you. If you have your circle that is constantly critical and breaking you down, I am going to plant a seed that might not be the right circle for you, because it's not healthy. If your people are not speaking life and encouraging you, they really shouldn't be your people, because they're probably great. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't be friends with them. Only you can make that decision. But when you're trying to improve, you really need people who are speaking lovingly into your life, and people who are constantly critical. They have their own stuff that they have to work on, and it's hard to be improving yourself positively when you're constantly surrounded by negativity. So again, I'm not saying cut everybody from your circle. You need to decide who is in your circle, who you spend and give your time and attention to. I'm just saying, when you go to people for insight and personal questions where you're being very vulnerable and your guard is down, that sits differently. So the words that they speak, you're going to hear them differently. They're going to plant deeper seeds. And so you need to ask, who can I go to that I feel safe with, who knows me in a lot of different areas of life, who I can trust their opinion, and who wants to see me win? Because not everyone wants to see you win. I know there are people I could go to and ask their opinion. It would not be kind, because they just, unfortunately, are not in a place. And I hope one day, people that too that are this way get there, but that's their journey, and that's the work that they need to do. So you need to stay in your lane, and you need to figure out, how can I be and do better for my life? And by you becoming better and improving constantly, you're able to better love and show up for those in your own life, because they're on a journey too, and they're looking to you, even if consciously or unconsciously, for guidance. So as I improved my patience and attitude and how I've been wanting to show up and love, it's amazing to see my circle constantly elevate. I don't even know exactly when it happened or how it happened, but I know that it happened, and I fully attribute it to by me intentionally doing the work requires others in my life to as well, because everybody wants to be better and to do better and to have better experiences in life, but we're not always sure how. So by modeling it, they see how you handle situations and they remember, and it molds them so that when they're in situations, they're like, oh, I remember when Shannon responded this certain way and I really liked that. That sounded really good. It felt really sincere. I'm going to try that. And then they do. It's just like in business, right? You read books and you do different coaching things and you want to be better at your career and position and for your team and leadership. It's the same thing for your life. You are constantly leading people, even if just by example, by what people see and hear you do. So you need to be committed to improving yourself, and it's also for your own health and happiness. You need to love your life. If you're not making great choices and you're not improving and you're not happy with your relationships and your circumstances, you notice what the common denominator is in all those situations. It's you. So what are you going to do about it? It's very empowering. It can also be really scary, but you do have the power to make a change. So you have to ask yourself, what am I not happy with right now? Because I highly doubt you're not happy with your whole life. But I'm sure there are pieces that have big impacts that you can improve. So if you're not happy at your job, you could ask yourself, is this the right fit for me? Is this a healthy environment? Do I even enjoy what I'm doing? You might say yes to all those questions. So then it's like, but then why are you still not happy? Maybe you need to change your perspective. Maybe you're showing up already negative, and so that is imprinting on every experience you have, as opposed to how can I show up and do my best? How can I serve other people and help better their experience with this company or this product or whatever it is? Or maybe you say, you know what, I absolutely hate what I'm doing, and there have been other opportunities. I just have not wanted to make an effort to make a change. And that might be a very real answer. Only you know what changes you need to make, but they're all within your power. They just might be initially uncomfortable, but the more that you make hard decisions and uncomfortable ones, you're getting to control your life and how it looks, feels, changes for the better. Because if you look back 6 to 12 months from now and you're still feeling how you are right now in those areas of life, I mean, again, you're the common denominator. It's all within your power. So you have to ask, like, what can I do to improve? It could be simple things of, you know what, I'm just not taking any time for me. I love what I do. I love who I'm surrounded with, but I'm literally giving everything away and I'm just completely depleted all the time. And so I need to look at my schedule and I need to block some time off where I can just say, you know what, I'm going to have some slow time. For me, a slow morning is really important. And so I either need to wake up earlier, or there are days where I just have to get in later and be okay with that. Because if my morning is completely rushed, that sets the tone for my whole day. And I will tell you, feeling stressed all day long in every aspect is absolutely terrible. And again, you come home completely depleted, how you started the day, completely exhausted. And I can tell you that that's also how you're showing up in your encounters with other people. Stressed, anxious, exhausted, not giving 100%. None of those describe how I actually want to be. So for me, I have found that having a slow-paced morning is really important. And then I can be and do better and show up and have better focus and exchanges. So for you, you need to figure out what that looks like. And maybe it's just that you need to have some exercise time or some best friend time, or we need to look at our nutrition because we're always feeling tired because we're not making time to meal prep. And so we're grabbing quick and easy things. Or, our finances are really struggling because we're always so busy and exhausted that we're constantly eating out and overspending, or, the list goes on. But again, all of that comes back to being very intentional with our choices and being aware of how we're spending our time and energy and just showing up, because it's all related. It's all connected. If you're tired, you're also not going to make great nutritional or health and exercise choices. If you're tired, you're not going to show up great at your job, and then you may not be performing well in your work. All sorts of things. So really, the thing is, you need to decide how you want to be and do better. Have people in your life who you trust. And if you don't know anybody personally that you can think of off the top of your head, then pause every day in different encounters and just reflect and ask yourself, was that my best? Did I show up in that exchange? Did I respond well? Did my pride and ego get in the way? Or was I really patient and gracious? And did I hear their perspective? Did I give them the forgiveness that I would want if roles were reversed? Because I know for me, I can't always say yes. Sometimes people ask something and the way I respond is not how I would hope somebody responds if I was in their shoes. And that's a reality, is then I have to go back and apologize. Hey, I'm sorry for being so quick to jump to a conclusion, or I'm sorry for not being as patient or lenient, whatever it is, right? We all have the examples, but by reflecting when those instances happen, we can then become more aware of how we want to improve and do better. And you're going to start to have better relationships because you're going to be drawn to people who are on the same journey as you. I love talking about these situations with my friends. It's so amazing because we don't shy away. It's like, hey, I had this encounter. Oh my gosh, I'm like literally playing it on repeat in my head. How embarrassing. And it's amazing when the response from either way, them to me or me to them, is just like, first of all, I bet it wasn't that bad. Second of all, it sounds like you were just having a unique day. You know, what came before that, or what was later in the day that was maybe on your mind or stressing you out, right? And maybe you could go back and apologize and just say, hey, can we try that again? Or hey, can we talk that through? Whatever it is, like, it's just really modeling how you would hope someone would treat you in that situation and giving yourself grace as you are improving and trusting people enough that just like you want to be better and patient and loving and improve your life and your relationships, they do too. And so we want to offer them the same opportunity when they're working on it with us as well. So although it isn't easy and it does take effort, I want to encourage each of you that you have so much control in your life. It's amazing. We are so quick to assume things are out of our control, and I can't believe this is happening to me. Things are not happening to you. They're happening for you. So you need to take a step back and ask, what can I learn from this situation? How can I grow and improve for the future? Because you are a leader. This is your life. So take control of it and become exactly who you want to be, so that in these crazy situations that are always going to be present, no offense, there is nothing special about you. We all encounter these hard situations or conversations or, growth times, all the things. And so us improving and growing through them helps us to be and do better for others, and helps to model who we want to be and become the person that we want ultimately in life, so that we can love better and show up better in all areas. I love you guys so much. I hope that you got a lot of value out of this. I know I'm in such a growth season right now. It's crazy to think that there's only 2.5 months left in 2024. If you haven't actually looked at a calendar and didn't realize that, forgive me, because it is completely mind-blowing. I am trying to slow down time and enjoy every minute, but also feel like I keep blinking and it's a new month. So if you are wanting to finish this year extra strong, if you are wanting to go ahead and get a head start on some goals that you have for next year, like, there's no special reason to wait till January 1st, which I guess most people wait till January 2nd because, you're celebrating the new year on the 1st. Reach out to me, connect with me on social media. I would love to chat about your goals and help you create the healthy habits that you want for your life. All right, talk with you soon. If this podcast helped, challenged, or inspired you in some way, I would love it if you'd do me a huge favor and leave me a review over on Apple Podcasts. It helps me to hear from you and know how this is best serving you. And go ahead and screenshot this and share it in your stories. Tag me at Shannon Marquita. That's ShannonMarqueta. And send it over to a friend in a text who is ready for healthy changes in her life too. Let her know that this episode might serve her as well. I am just so grateful for you and would love to hear from you. Come hang out and let's connect over in my Facebook group, bit.ly.com/afreshstart, or send me a message. I look forward to seeing you back here in a few days.